And it should be a good week in college football and, of course, a huge week in high school football across the state. And here to talk about all of it is our good friend and DCTF contributor, Mike Craven. Mike, I know the only reason that you're excited to be on the show today is to be Bun B's opening act.
Yeah, it's kind of a dream come true.
Yeah, it's listen, we've all got dreams, and I'm glad that we can help you realize one.
I appreciate it.
You just put a story up on TexasFootball.com with four sleepers, four teams that you think could maybe make a run and spoil some things.
Dark horse wrecking balls.
Dark horse wrecking balls. And I want to start. With LaGrange. This is a team that you've been on since the beginning, really. Why, I guess?
I just think they have a player that can make them capable of beating anybody in the state. I mean, J.K. Dobbins is one of the best running backs in that classification, and they're not afraid to give him the ball. They're pretty good defensively. They have a pretty easy region in terms of everybody else to start off. So, yeah, I think LaGrange is a team that could surprise some people. They lost the game they probably think they shouldn't have earlier in the season, and they can be a team that can surprise some people once playoffs start.
Another team you've got on there, we've mentioned South Lake Carroll on the show, a team that obviously a lot of pedigree there, a lot of experience. John Tyler seems like they have come on of late, kind of a slow start to the year, but it seems like this is a team that if you're into the hot team, you're into the team that's peaking at the right time, it may be Cujo.
Yeah, a lot of it comes with quarterback Bryson Smith. He's starting for the first time this year. He's a junior, and they were pretty young early in the season. They have a really hard non-district schedule and tough district schedule to start off. So that 0-3 start alarmed people because it's John Tyler, and John Tyler usually doesn't go 0-3. But they're getting it going at the right time, and I think they're another team that can go in with momentum. And a lot of times, we know it's easy to pick Allen, and, it may end up being where those teams win it out. But there are some teams in here that, if they bring in the right momentum and they get going at the right time in the playoffs, they can make some noise.
Another team you mentioned here that you say is ready to make a splash in the postseason, Pittsburgh, a team I think off of a lot of people's radar, but it seems like, with one loss in the year, they're 8-1. That one loss is to Liberty Ilo. That's more than an acceptable loss. What has you drawn towards the Pirates?
They can score a lot of points. They're good. I mean, they have that Auburn style of offense, and they can just put up a lot of points in the playoffs. If you can score 40, 50 points on a regular basis, you're going to beat a lot of teams. Like you said, their one loss was to a really good football team that may win the state championship. And so, they're another team that I like to kind of go in there because they don't play as many guys two ways as some of the smaller schools. So I think they have a chance to be really good.
So we're talking with Mike Craven, DCTF contributor here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live, and follow Mike at Craven Mike. He decided to invert his name for Twitter purposes. Let's shift on over to college football. I'm interested in your impressions of Baylor's performance last night. We talked about it a little bit earlier. It seems like Jarrett Stidham throwing the ball was fabulous, but I'm not sure if what you saw, but the running game and the defense seemed to take a bit of a step back.
It did, and I think we were going to see that no matter what with the level of competition for them growing. Kansas State's a team that makes games ugly, and they can make really good teams seem bad just by their style of play. So it was a bad matchup to look flashy and good for Baylor. But they got the win, and for them, that's all that matters right now. Everybody's talking about style points, but if you go undefeated in the Big 12 and you get wins against TCU, Oklahoma State, you're going to get into the college football playoff the way it's shaping up right now. So for Baylor, it's just about winning and moving on. And you got the true freshman, his first start out of the way. So I think it wasn't a perfect win for Baylor. It wasn't something that looked as good as some of their 60-point wins that they are known to put up. But it showed a lot about the team, and I think it's something they can use to move forward and get better with.
It's on the left side of the ledger. That is all that matters. The other big game, or another big game across the state.
The only one.
No, there's
it's the only one.
There's a lot of good ones, Max. Number 5 TCU visits number 12 Oklahoma State. I guess my biggest question is, are you buying Oklahoma State? I have a hard time kind of coming to a consensus about how I feel about the Cowboys.
I'm not buying Oklahoma State. But they're undefeated, and so they're undefeated for a reason. They put up a lot of points against Texas Tech. It's a Texas Tech team that gave TCU a really good game, obviously, that, kind of a fluke play at the end there cost them that game. So they're capable of beating TCU, and so we'll see how this goes. I mean, the Big 12 is shaping up to be a pretty cool little round robin at the end, and I think this Oklahoma State team has the capability of beating anyone, but they could be a big dud. And I watched them play against UTSA, and I still don't know, who they are. But we'll see a lot this week, I guess.
He is Mike Craven. He's a DCTF contributor joining us on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. Another game down there in the Houston area. Cincinnati comes calling to Houston. This U of H team just seems like they just keep on churning. Do you think Cincinnati has an opportunity to trip them up?
They could. They're due for one of those kind of letdown games. A lot of times that happens in a program, especially with the first-year coach. That momentum and excitement can only ride so far. But Greg Ward's playing so well right now. I think I read somewhere he's like the only quarterback in the nation with 10 rushing touchdowns and 10 throwing touchdowns. So he's been a beast, and he's helped. A lot of times you come into a program as a first-year coach, and you have to figure out quarterback because that's usually the reason the prior coach got fired. He came in, and he has Greg Ward, and he's turned him into his ceiling. We always knew Greg Ward could be a really good football player, but he's starting to reach that ceiling and become a real quarterback. And that team's moving, and it's going to be interesting to see how they finish out their schedule because they have a chance to go undefeated and wreck some things, make things interesting with some big wins late.
Right now, if you had a Heisman vote, who would you give it to?
Trayvon Boykin.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Leonard Fournette is obviously doing some things that are insane. And if Fournette goes out against Alabama and puts up big yardage and they win that game, they go undefeated, it'd be hard to argue against that. But it could be just because I watch TCU more than I watch LSU. But Boykin's just made TCU a relevant member of the Big 12 and in the nation, and I don't think that can be overlooked.
He is Mike Craven, DCTF contributor. Follow him on Twitter at Craven Mike. One last question for you. I don't know if you heard, but we're about to talk with Bun B. Is there anything you'd like us to ask him?
Yeah, I think Riding Dirty is the best CD to come out of Houston probably of all time. I'd be curious to know if that's his favorite CD or if one of the other ones that doesn't get as much talk about is his favorite CD.
Because the Trillo...
What's the one he listens to? Like, if he had to give somebody
a recommendation,
CD and like this is our work, I wonder what CD that would be.
Okay, I'm gonna write that question down. Riding Dirty. So I got to write that down. We will tell him that you send your regards. And we appreciate you hopping on with us. He is Mike Craven. Follow him on Twitter at Craven Mike, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.